If you guys have been following me for a while, you know how much I love to travel and photograph new and interesting places around the world. That's exactly why I moved to Bali over 2 years ago, was to be in a place where I could wake up every day and be inspired to go outside and take photos. But of course, like everywhere else in the world, if you stay in one place for too long, you really start to get that itch and you want to go out and explore new places. And I've been back in Bali for 8 months and I'm definitely feeling that travel itch. I'm really excited to get out and explore a new country. But over the last few months, I've actually been planning another trip to Europe, a 1 month long trip, and I'm leaving for that trip in 10 days. So in this video, I want to walk you guys through my entire planning process for this trip, starting with how I chose the countries that I did and how I organize all the logistical information that goes into international travel, as well as how I organize my projects that I'm going to be completing out there in Europe as well. There's so much planning and organizing that goes into these longer photography trips, especially if you have more than one project. So I'm going to show you guys how I keep all of that stuff organized, from the logistical stuff to my creative ideas and checklists and notes and mood boards and all that good stuff. So let's jump on the computer and I'll walk you guys through my entire planning process for my photography trips. All right, guys, so we are here at the computer, and this is where I do a lot of my planning, sitting right here. It's so much easier to have a big screen where I can kind of find a bunch of inspiration, do a bunch of research, and compile it all in one place. In the past, I used to plan my trips really haphazardly. I'd use a mix of Apple Notes, one of these. I would use my notebook a lot. I still use this for a lot of things, but for planning a trip and all the things that go into that, it just doesn't make sense. But luckily, a few months ago, a really cool company called Milanote reached out to me and they said, "Hey Sean, would you like to try our software? It's great for creatives who are looking to kind of compile and organize all of their creative projects and all the different things that go into being a creative." And I said, sure, let's give it a shot. And I absolutely loved it. So that's what I'm going to be showing you guys today, how I use Milanote to plan these trips and all the projects that go into these trips. So thank you, Milanote, for sponsoring this video. Let's jump on the computer here and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. So Milanote is essentially just a place to collect and organize all of your thoughts and ideas. It allows you to put together checklists of everything that needs to be done. You can visualize and gather inspiration, and you can also set a visual direction for your project, which is one of the things that I use Milanote for. So as you can see here, when I open up Milanote, this is my home board. Now Milanote kind of operates on boards, and you can create new boards by simply just dragging one in here and titling it whatever you want. So if I wanted to do, for example, a Vietnam trip, I can just create that and then drag that over into my column of future trips. You can see I have a few trips on the books here: Japan, Thailand, Slovenia, and Croatia. I was going to try and fit that in on this trip, but I didn't get it to work. And then I also have some current projects, some video ideas, and some personal stuff as well. But let me click on the upcoming trip here, the Europe trip. So as you can see here, this is kind of my overall planning board for the Europe trip. I have some of the basics of where I'm going to be going, the purpose of the trip, my flight details here, key addresses, all of the logistical stuff. And then I also have a column that links to some of the projects I'm going to be working on there. So Ireland, I have a video that I want to shoot out there. In Copenhagen, I'm going to be working on a new Skillshare class. I have a few videos that I want to do in London as well. And then just some other general notes like things to pack, and I can easily check these off. I have a to-do list, collaboration sponsors, just kind of an overview of the trip. But what I want to focus on in this video specifically is one of the projects that I'm going to be working on out there in Europe, and how I use Milanote to kind of compile all of my locations and just organize everything for that project in one place. So I'm going to show you guys my Ireland photo and video trip, and you can see here it's kind of just a creative canvas with all different kinds of things you can see here. Now this board in particular is representing two of my main goals for Ireland. I want to shoot a YouTube video similar to my Lisbon video, so focusing on the Fuji X100V, this little camera right here. I want to capture some really cool documentary style photos that are just raw depictions of some of the things that I'm doing out there, beautiful little scenes that I see on the side of the road, intimate moments with my friends, just kind of an array of different things. And I want to turn that whole photography experience with the Fuji into a YouTube video. But for the second goal, it's to capture these really dynamic landscape photos that you guys see on my Instagram Instagram or some of the editing breakdowns that I do. I see those two types of photography as very different things. My mind kind of thinks in a different way, depending on the style of photography that I'm shooting. I love both of them. They're just very different to me. So this board kind of reflects all of those things. For the most part, it's focused on the video and on the Fuji style at first glance. But once we get to the location breakdowns, I'll show you guys how that's a little bit more in tune with landscape photography and all the different things that go into finding the right locations and knowing exactly where to go to get the right compositions and lining up the sunrise and sunset and things like that. But yeah, everything you can see here is kind of like my creative dump for this YouTube video that I want to work on. On the top left here, I have trip goals. So some of the things that I want to accomplish on this trip to Ireland. I'm going to be in Ireland for 1 week as well. And one of the reasons why I chose to go to Ireland was, number one, I have friends there. And number two, I feel like a lot of the photographers on the Instagram community in particular have kind of neglected Ireland, and I think it's beautiful, and I'd like to go kind of test myself and see if I can capture some cool photos out there. Then I have some reference videos, and I love how easy it is to compile all of my reference videos on Milanote. To get these videos in here, all you have to do is go to YouTube, find a video that you want to add, and then just simply copy the link, come back to Milanote, and paste it, and it'll instantly show up on the right side in the unsorted tab. And then all you have to do is take that video and simply drag it in. You can drag it anywhere. You can bring it over here. You can drag it into the column, whatever suits your fancy. I like having it nice and clean in the reference videos. And I have a bunch of other videos here that I think are really great references for me in the video that I want to shoot, in the style and all that good stuff. And then I have this ideas board, and I love that I can just come in here and just type in random things, whatever kind of comes to mind as I'm creating this video idea. I'll just come and type those out. And I can also come in here and just add a really simple note. So say, for example, I want to make a note about capturing, close-up shots of the Fuji X100V. I can just type close-up shots of the X100V, and I can take that and put that anywhere on the board, or I can just drag it in here into the notes, or I can bring it over here, and then I can just create an arrow. And there really is just a ton of creative potential here. It is an open canvas, so you can kind of do whatever you want. And I really love that about Milanote. So over here, I have a few checklists for short form video ideas that I want to do out there for Instagram and TikTok, a shot list for some more shots. And I definitely need to add more to this. I still have 10 days until I'm leaving, and then I'll have a few days buffer before I start shooting this video, but this is going to be populated quite soon. And then down here, I have a Fuji mood board, and these are all images that are really going to inspire the kind of style of photography that I'm going for out there, especially these deep greens. There's a lot of greens in Ireland, so I'm excited to capture those deep greens, and I'm currently looking for the perfect Fuji recipe to do so. So if you guys have that, let me know. But getting images into Milanote is incredibly easy, and that's one of the reasons why I love it as a mood board feature. So say, for example, you're scrolling Instagram and you find a really cool photo and you're like, wow, that's amazing, I want to add that to my mood board. All you have to do is go to that photo, and then you can use the Milanote web clipper, and then you just come up here, click save, make sure it's going to the correct board, so Fuji mood board, and boom, save to mood board. You come back to Milanote, and it will show up here on the right hand side as unsorted, and then you just simply drag it in here and it's there. Boom, you can hide the caption if you want. Now you can also do this with screenshots, or if you download images, you can simply drag them from your desktop onto Milanote, and it'll instantly populate it in a really organized way. So it's really, really easy to pull all of your visual inspiration into Milanote in just a split second. And there's a few different ways to do it. Like I said, the web clipper, dragging it in there, or even just posting the link to a photo will do that as well. So it's really easy, and I love that aspect of it, because when I'm working, I just want to be able to dump things in here and have it kind of sorted out for me and make it easy to use, and Milanote definitely does that. Down here, I have some music that I want to use in the video from MusicBed, and all I did for that was simply go to MusicBed, copy the link, come back to Milanote, post the link, and boom, it's right there. And then I can simply drag that in there, and I can hide the image, hide the description if I want to, just to make it a little bit more clean. Now down here, I also have some of the Fuji recipes that I'm thinking about using on this trip. There's a few more that I found that I want to add in here, but I love this because it actually links with the mobile app, so I can easily go onto my phone when I'm in the field, and I'll have all these settings there. So if I click on Kodak Portra, you can see up here I have the film recipe settings in the top left, And then I have some reference photos that I pulled from the website where I got this recipe from. So this is from Joe D'Agostino, Kodak Portra. And all I did to get this image in here was use the web clipper. It took me about 10 seconds to do so. And I love how I can pull this up on my phone as well using the mobile app. So not only does Milanote have a desktop app, which is really handy, they also have a mobile app for Android and iPhone. So if I go onto my phone here, click Europe trip, scroll down to the Ireland video, and then come down here past the videos to Fuji recipes, I can click Kodak Portra, and I have all of these settings right here on my phone with the link. Really easy to access if I'm in the field. And I can also take a look at my visual inspiration as well. I have my Fuji mood board here, so if I'm out driving in the car and I don't want to pull my laptop out to check out my mood board, it's all right here, and I have these reference images literally in my pocket. Now down here I have my video script. This is really only the introduction of the video that I scripted because I like to keep things kind of open. But if I did want to add to this, I can simply type more, or I can create a new note and type in, part 2 of the video, and then I can go on and on about that. I can also take this script and resize it. You can resize pretty much any of the windows in here. So I can take that and resize it, make it however big I want. And when I'm filming, I might do this, but right now I like it nice and clean, so I keep it in the corner. And you can also turn this into a document. If I right click it and select convert to document, it will be right there, and I can have it as its own document board, which is really nice and out of the way. And then I can expand on all of my ideas here, which is really nice. And if I was going to be typing more, or I kind of wanted to have a much more detailed script, I would probably use that. But I like having the words just right out in front of me here, just so I can come in here and work on it whenever I want to. I think of an idea, I think of a sentence I want to say, I'll just come in here and type that. But now I want to focus on this section here, this trip locations. And this is one of the features that I love most about this software. It's being able to track all of the locations that I have and then really dive into those locations and add all of my notes about those locations, where the best places to shoot are, where to park, and things like that. So if I click this link here, this will take us to the Ireland roadmap. And these are just a bunch of places that we're thinking about visiting. So right now we're thinking about starting in Dublin and then driving down into Cork and then into Killarney and then working our way up the coast and then back down to Dublin. We're not going to lock this in yet until I get there. We have a few days in Dublin first, and me and my buddy are going to kind of talk about it and figure everything out. But there are a few locations that I do not want to budge on. I really want to go to these locations. So if I click here in the location breakdown, you can see some of the locations that I have selected that I really want to shoot at, as well as some of the inspiration for these locations as well, like the best angles to shoot at, the best time to shoot at. So these are images that I pulled from all over the internet, from Instagram, from Google, from this website called Location Scout, which I actually get a lot of great information from. But one of the first things I do when I'm looking for locations in a country that I'm visiting is I start on Instagram, and I'll just search Ireland, or I'll search a specific part of Ireland, or I'll go to accounts that focus specifically on Ireland, and then I'll kind of scroll through the photos, I'll look at the comments, and I'll see if there's anything I can learn about that specific location. And then once I find a photo that I really like, all I have to do is simply copy that link on my phone. And then because the Mac ecosystem talks to each other, I can just paste it here on Milanote, and I don't even have to send the link from my phone to my computer. It automatically does it, and then I can just simply drag this photo here. I don't exactly know where this particular location is. So maybe this is other possible locations, but all of these other places I've thoroughly researched, and I know all the different angles that I want to photograph. So for example, here, Cliffs of Moher, these are images that I pulled from Google or from Instagram or from Location Scout is another one. I'll type in Ireland, and then I can just kind of scroll through these images that I like, and you guys will recognize some of these from my mood board. But this one here, Cliffs of Moher, I love this, and there's a ton of information here. There's the coordinates where it was taken. It's not always correct, but it gives us a really good starting point. Tells us the best time, sunset, etc., all that good stuff. So then to save this photo, once again, use the web clipper, make sure it is saved to location breakdowns, and then it will be in Milanote when we open it back up, and then boom, drag that in there. I've already got that in there, but I just wanted to show you how you use Location Scout because it really is a great resource for finding landscape photography locations. And then I make notes under all of these images. So this particular location, it is sunset looking south. Right here is a drone shot at sunrise from the tower, and I have a map to the tower that I found. Now, the way I found these locations is I actually use Google Maps to do that. So as I'm searching Google Maps, I always make sure I have the terrain map on so I can see. And then I look at the photos and I kind of look for a defining feature in the photo. So like this little peak down here, you can see in the distance that is a really defining feature. And then I can kind of see, okay, the land is on the left-hand side. So then I'll look at the map and then I can see right here, that's that little peak. So if it's on the left-hand side, that means that photo was probably taken somewhere over here. Okay, viewing point, Cliffs of Moher, perfect. Click share, copy that, and then I can come back here and then paste that specific location. And then that location will show up right here, which is nice and handy to have everything here in one place. So I love being able to integrate the photos with the notes and the maps as well. You can see I made a bunch of random notes here. So with Milanote Head Lighthouse, I did the same thing. I found this Instagram photo. I thought it was really cool. Honestly, the sky almost looks fake. I'm not sure. But then I just brought in a bunch of different images from different angles at different times of the day. And I also made some notes here. Be dangerous, or be careful, there's dangerous cliffs. I think a photographer died there a few years ago, so you need to be careful. And then I have the Google pin as well. So I have this for all of the locations that I really want to visit. I think Slee Head is probably the place I'm most excited for. So I have, Duncan Pier. I know where all these spots are. I scouted them out on Google Maps quite heavily using that terrain feature. And I love that I can just come here, and if I learn more about that location, say I meet another photographer and they tell me about it and the best time to go, I can just come in here and make those notes, and everything is just nice and organized in one place. But that is the gist of how I plan and organize all the different things that go into these photography trips, from the logistics to the locations and everything in between. I think everything starts with an idea. So, I lock in the country I want to visit, and that's based on things I've seen on Instagram or where I have friends in the world or a place that I've just been inspired to go to for a long time. And then once I lock in that idea, I'll come in here to Milanote, I'll create a board, and then I'll just start my research, looking for inspiration, thinking of projects that I can create on that trip, and then adding ideas to those projects. The list goes on. It's just really nice having everything in one place where I don't have to worry about having my ideas scattered, because they're all right here in front of me. If I'm at my desktop and if I'm on my phone, they're right there as well in my pocket. But hopefully you guys can pull some inspiration from this video, and I hope it was helpful. If you guys want to give Milanote a shot, you want to try planning out a few trips of your own, or maybe planning out a photography project that you want to work on, you can use it free forever. I'll put a link down in the description. If you want to upgrade your storage space later, you can, but you can use the free plan for as long as you need. So thanks again for watching, guys. I leave in 10 days and I have a bunch of stuff I need to get done. So I'm going to get to it, and I will catch you guys again in the next video.